line up heat number 1. And starting on the pole in heat 1, a guy that's raced here for, man, a lot of years. I would think it's going on 20 years. The 5G Miller Race Engines entry is Scott Greer on the pole. To his outside.
This video production is sponsored in part by Packin' Away Mobile Storage. We bring the storage unit to your door, pack it at your place, and store it at ours. Packin' Away Mobile Storage is a division of Highway Number 1 Self-Storage. We are proud supporters of the number 2 Lightning Sprint, the 20X Modified, and the 64 Late Model.
Outside on row 1. Inside on row number 2 is a Miller Race Engines Region Construction A1 Environmental number 7 of Danny Staff, and to his outside the 29F. This is Mark Favreau. Mark Favreau in the 29F. Inside row 3, it's Adam Magus. Where did Adam go? He's not there. So that moves Ian Russo up in the A1 Environmental A1, also sponsored by Miller Race Engines. On the outside of row 3, another Miller Race Engines race car. The 36 is a rookie in the A-Mod division. That is Ryan Cousins. Green flag, we are racing. Oh boy, Scott Greer slides way up high on the track, but Ward Emery gets to the number 1 spot. Danny Staff on the move on the bottom. He's running the bottom of the racetrack with Scott Greer on the higher side. A great race for second and third place. Danny Staff goes to the bottom. The Region Construction number 7 is third. Remember, just the top 4 cars draw for the feature starting spots. Speaking of fourth place, look at the race for fourth. Ian Russo and the 29F Mark Favreau in a car that is usually driven by Ryan Karolak. What a great race for second place, and those guys are brother-in-laws racing it at. We're going at it for second spot. Danny Staff is married to Scott Greer's sister, so it's a family affair, but they're wanting bragging rights. Scott Greer up on the high side at the halfway mark in the Miller Race Engines number 5. The Miller Race Engines number 7 working the bottom of the racetrack and appears at times to have it going on, but they're door to door again in turn 4, but Greer hangs on to the number 1 spot with 3 to go. Danny Staff back to the bottom of the racetrack as Ryan Cousins spins at the bottom of turn 1, but he's inside the tires. The race rages on for second spot. Scott Greer on the high side, Danny Staff on the bottom. This time 2 to go, and boy, that race for second place is far from over yet. Good, clean racing. Scott Greer on the high side, Danny Staff on the bottom. This time by the white flag will fly. Ward Emery out front and uncontested in this one. Scott Greer appears to have a firm hold on second spot right now. Staff, though, takes another run at him on the final lap of this one. Ward Emery started on the front row. He is your winner. Look at the race for second place in turn 4. Scott Greer will grab the win in the Miller Race Engines number 5. Third goes to the 7. Goes to the 7 car of Danny Staff, and the fourth and final draw spot to the A1 of Ian Russo. Well, Darren, we talked about the points race heading into tonight. Ward Emery is only 1 point ahead of his adversary, Rick Delane. Now, you'd think last night Dustin Strand started in the front row of the feature. Zach Johnson started 8th. Well, tonight, as chance would have it, it's even up in the heat races so far.
Absolutely, Pat. You are correct about that. We, of course, are racing modifieds here and getting ready to go into heat number 2. Now, there is 1 point separating Ward Emery, who just won that race, and Rick Delane, who's coming up in the next race. Well, Ward Emery, pretty lucky. He draws a real good number here tonight. Starts on the front row of heat number 1 and wins it. Well, coming up in heat number 2, what did Rick Delane do? He also drew well at the back gate. Rick Delane and the 1R just 1 point back of Ward Emery will start on the pole here in heat number 2 of the modified division in the Headingley Sports Shop Polaris 1R. Outside in the 25, sponsored by St. Cloud Auto Body, the 25 is Eric Guillot out of Fanistel. Inside row number 2, this is a Millennium chassis built in Grand Forks, North Dakota. The driver is Dustin Strand in the 71. He won the late model feature last night. Of course, he is here this weekend with 2 Millennium chassis, one a modified, one a late model. Outside of row number 2 in the 4th starting spot, driving car number 51 is Jason Melnick. Inside row 3 out of Ontario, keep your eyes on this driver. The number 16 is Gavin Paul. And outside in the 10E is Shane Edgington out of East St. Paul. And rounding out the field out of Marquette, Manitoba, he drives the Santana Kennels, Johnny McRae Trucking, Archangel Fireworks number 9. This is a Ford. The driver is Lee McRae. Getting ready to go racing here now in modified heat number 2. Rick Delane really wants the win. Well, Rick Delane does what he needs to do so far. He gets out front, but here comes Dustin Strand on the 71 car. He's in a hurry. The Johnson's Hog Barbecue 1R of Rick Delane looking strong so far. Don't forget, if you win the heat race, you get 10 points. Ward Emery just did that. So obviously, Rick Delane wants to do exactly the same. Rick Delane in the power vac. Headingley Sports Shop 1R is your leader, followed by Dustin Strand. He is out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Third, Gavin Paul, but here comes Guillot in the Miller, number 25 on the outside. Five showing now on the Pepsi board. Rick Delane slightly pulling away now from the 71 of Dustin Strand. Third, Gavin Paul now. Fourth is Guillot. Fifth is Edgington. Four down, 4 to go. Delane continues to lead. Heads up, Dustin Strand's in a hurry in that Millennium chassis. Rick Delane's got the heat on him. 2 to go. Rick Delane is gonna need to be silky smooth as he's got some very fast company behind him. That is Dustin Strand as they come out. White flag is out, 1 to go. Rick Delane trying to keep the car low on the racetrack. He drives off and pulls away. Dustin Strand has one more shot. Rick Delane really needs the 10 points here. Side by side they go. Checkered flag. Rick Delane doing a great job holding off a charging Dustin Strand. Wowee. Well, Rick Delane will earn 10 points for that win. The 71 will earn 9, so Ward Emery, 10 points in heat number 1. Rick Delane, 10 points in heat number 2. Pat, it is a 1-point differential going into the feature. Wow, is that going to be a barn burner?
It is almost impossible to believe that you could race against each other all season long and at the final night of the year be 1 point apart. It sounds almost too much to believe, but that is in fact the case. Now, you just watched Dustin Strand finish second in that modified race. You're going to see him come out here again right now in his Millennium late model. Here's how the lineup goes for heat number 1 without a late models. Starting on the pole in the Hooters Restaurants, Derek's Heavy Truck Parts 7, a rookie in the late model division. This is Rick Lowy. On the outside of the front row, a driver that is no rookie. This is a guy that just finished second in the modified in the Ben Adams Race Engines Millennium Chassis. McCoggan Everflow Eve Troughing 71D. It's Dustin